So, welcome everybody. If you are just joining, today we are going to talk about your email strategy for 2024 for your races and events on RunSignup. Just give it 1 second as people are coming in. A little bit of housekeeping just off the top. This is being recorded, so if there's something that you want to go back to and refer to, we will send out the recording tomorrow afternoon. Additionally, Elizabeth is on to help with some questions, so you can put those in the questions box on the GoToWebinar module. It's normally on the right-hand side of your screen. Those can be answered in writing throughout the webinar, but we'll also take some of those at the end if we need. I think we will go ahead and dive in. So what we're going to look at today is just a little bit of information about RunSignup email in general, different ways that you can send your email, what we think your email schedule should look like, and key things to keep in mind, who you want to be sending your emails to, and then a few email tips and tricks. And at the end, I'll just go into the actual email platform for a little bit to kind of show you a few of the things that we talked about on the webinar. Email overview. So email is a huge part of marketing for races, basically everything. We see a ton of use of our email platform over the years, and I think that has continued to increase both because we've continued to see more races. Also, we've continued to see more races actually using email, and then we continue to improve the email product, and so that has really made people more likely to dive in and use RunSignup email. In 2023, we saw 553 million emails were sent through RunSignup, and I do expect that to go up as kind of the features of email v2 have come out, and they are much more robust, and I think will be much easier for events to save a little bit of money, drop contracts with outside email companies, and simply use the platform. Why emails matter? I think that this is largely pretty intuitive. They matter because they work. How do we know that? We look at some of the numbers on this, and we can look at overall all transactions across RunSignup, how many of those resulted directly from an email. So it doesn't look at first touch, it looks at the last touch attribution, which means someone clicked on your email, they clicked that register button, and then they went ahead and registered immediately. And in 2023, 17% of transactions came from an email directly. We also know that that's an undercount because there's still people out there who are paying for other email services, and we can't count those. We don't know if your email sent from contact that came from email. So across the whole platform, we expect that 17% to be an undercount. One thing I did this year, just to kind of get an idea what it looks like in individual races, is I did a quick case study on one specific race, McGuire St. Patrick's Day Prediction Day 5K, and looked at how many of their registrations came from email because they used only our email platform. And from that, we could see that 29% of the races registrations came directly from email. I think I had run that back in 2021, and it was around 25%. So, that little bit of variation may mean something, or it may just be year-to-year changes, but I think it's useful to know, how high that really can be. See, email is useful in a couple of different ways. First, you want to re-engage people who've come before. You want to make sure that you keep in touch with them, that they know your race is happening again, and that they're back out on your course the following year. We want to encourage word-of-mouth marketing. So if you have programs like referral programs or groups and teams, you want to make sure that your email to reinforce that people can get rewarded for bringing their friends. You want to provide incentive for them to bring their friends. Big one is provide time-based calls to action. People need a reason to do something now instead of saying I'm going to do it later, and then maybe they do and maybe they don't do it later. So that big button that says register before the price goes up, that's a huge driver of registrations, and a good way to get people to actually cross the finish line, so to speak. The other things are just quite simple in terms of your actual participants. You need a good way to communicate what's going to happen on race day, what it is that when they need to pick up their packet and where they need to go. It's a very important communication tool because your participants aren't going to have a good experience if they aren't prepared for what's going to happen on race day, and that also means they aren't going to come back the following year. Finally, reducing customer service needs. This is a big deal. You want to make sure that people are getting email communications that are clear about what's going to happen, so they don't email you first or call you if you have a phone number listed somewhere. It'll provide them the opportunity to find their information themselves in their own inbox before they reach out to you. So RunSignup email, we've had email for many years now. This last year, we brought email v2 over to Races, and that has a lot of new features that were not available in the old email platform. All email includes unlimited contacts for free. It doesn't matter, if you upload them, if they're system contacts that come from your Races, any number of contacts is free. You can send as many emails as you want. We don't want to put limits on something that we think works and helps you grow your event, because we don't do well if you guys don't do well. So we want to make sure that you're able to actually grow your event through email. The really cool things in email v2, if you've only used our legacy email platform, it's a great drag and drop email builder. The old emails were pretty static, and there wasn't a lot of flexibility in it unless you wanted to actually go into HTML. These are super easy to use and move around. You can add in a lot of different components. They do have customizable colors and branding, so it's going to match your race. It doesn't look like it's coming from us. It looks like it's coming from you. They're all going to be mobile responsive, and that's super, super important. We see about 76% of all race web views are on a mobile phone. That also means then that many people are checking their emails on the phone, and you want to make sure that emails look really nice and are built for a phone as well. There is a nice little preview you can see what it looks like on your phone. I always recommend that anytime you're setting up an email, you send it to yourself as a test and check that on your phone as well, just to be extra sure that you know what it's going to look like for people who are getting in. It also has a lot of different cool templates, including templates that you can build, templates that we have built. Gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how your emails look. And then the thing here, I think, is something that's a little bit underrated. The lists, that are automatically included in the site. These are not custom lists you upload. These are, your participant lists, your volunteer lists, your donor lists. Those are going to be integrated with your data. And what that means is that you easily include things like someone's bib number, or what event they're doing, without having to do any mail merges, without having to individually split up your lists by different types of groups. You can automatically make sure that your data is all correct and it matches what's in your system. So that said, if you have not used email v2 yet, you're going to, because we have completely transitioned off of legacy email. What that means is you can no longer set up new emails to send out of our legacy email platform. If you have emails that were pre-scheduled that you built before the shutoff, and they were already scheduled to send, they will still send, and you can still edit them. You can't create anything moving forward you'll do from email v2. That doesn't mean you've lost anything, though. If you have stuff that you had set up from previous years, legacy email, that's all still on your dashboard, and you can go in anytime to copy your content, download your recipient list, make sure that you have all the same information for this year that you had in previous years. Couple of different ways to send email. These are fairly straightforward, but I think it's important because you want to think about getting up ahead of your schedule, making sure you have the ability to get things out quickly, and these kind of build out a way to do that. So we'll go through these in a little bit more detail, but obviously the first one, send an email right now. If you have something that you just realized you need to do and it's for the last minute, that's going to be your best option. Pre-scheduling an email, that's an email that you're building now. You maybe need to send it next week. You want to schedule it for another time. Automated emails, we'll talk a lot more about those, but they are emails that are set to go out, based on the registration data. And so that's not necessarily for a pre-scheduled date. It can be, but it isn't necessarily. But those are going to go out again without you having to go back in and do anything with them. And pre-built emails, these are emails that you can actually use across all of the other three. They're emails that already have some content in, can help you get started with your emails very quickly. So you're sending right now. One thing I will call out here is any of the items that we talk about have like a specific place on the dashboard that you're going to find information. You can find that pathway on the slide. So if you want to go back and figure out where something was, that's always on here. If you're sending right now, you're just going to get to the last step of send, and you're going to see a little box that says send immediately. Technically, it's not immediately. It might take 2 or 3 minutes depending on how many emails are in the queue, but it won't take. It will go out essentially immediately. These include dynamic lists. So if you're using system lists like your participants, that list is going to go out exactly as it is at the moment that it is sending. If you have sent an email and you want to see, did it actually go out, you can go to your sent emails and it'll show you there when the actual email sent and how many distinct recipients there were and how many emails are on the list. Those numbers may be different sometimes if you have different replacement tags usage. Scheduling a send. If you want to set up a send to go out tomorrow, next week, you can go ahead and write your email, schedule that date and time there. What's important to know is that that will still send to the current list as of the send. It doesn't send, if you set this up this week to go out to all participants, it's not only going to send to the participants as of when you schedule it, it's going to send to all participants as of the actual send date. So it will capture anyone who comes in between the time that you set up the email and the actual email goes out. If you want to double check and see if your scheduled email has been sent or make sure that you actually schedule it, you can also see that under manage emails. Just go back to sent emails. Even though it hasn't actually sent, it does show under sent emails there. It'll just say that delivery hasn't started yet. And if you need to double check when you scheduled it for it, you just click on that ID number there and that'll show you when the actual email is going to send. One note on this is a little bit silly and I think just makes people nervous. When you schedule an email, the button at the very bottom of that page still says send email. It doesn't say schedule email, and then it'll pop up and say, are you sure you want to send your email? I promise you, if you go back up and it says it's schedule, it won't actually send then, it's just going to schedule it then. Automated emails. So these are really, really neat if you want to make sure that you're keeping in touch with your participants and also, not have to do a lot of manual work. So there's 3 kinds of automated emails that are set up in Email V2. One is incomplete registrations. So those are scheduled based on the number of days after abandoning a cart or on a set date. So if I go in and I start registering for your race, but I don't make it to the final step, my name's automatically going to get added to the incomplete email list. And I can say, schedule an email that says 3 days after someone forgot to finish registering, send them an email that says, hey, did you forget to finish your registration? You can also do it. I like this for a lot of events. They'll do a, 3 days after someone didn't register, they will schedule an incomplete registration, but then they'll also do one final one, the last week before the race to make sure that they've really captured everyone who intended to register. Price increase emails, so these are scheduled to go out before you have a price increase, and that's because our email system knows when your price increases are because it's all tied to the same data. You can schedule these to go out, a day, 2 days before the price increase, an hour before the price increase, or again on a set date. I think this is one of those probably fewer instances where you'd want to do it on a set date. I think you'd want to schedule it around the actual price increase. One thing that's important to note here is there's actually 2 versions of a price increase email. One is going to go to people who are currently registered and it's going to say, hey, we're so excited to see you this year. Remind your friends that the price is going to go up. And that's to try to encourage those people to reach out to their friends and make sure that they get registered as well. There's a very separate version then that goes to previous registrants. So that's people from the last 3 years who haven't currently registered for this year's race. And that one will say, make sure you don't doubt the price is about to go up. Finally, we have registration follow-up emails. These are super flexible. You can basically use them for whatever you want. What we typically see is these are great for key reminders about the race, to promote other programs, and to really promote word of mouth. So these are scheduled based on the number of days since someone registered. So if I register, you can send me an email 3 days later that says, can't wait to see you. Don't forget, we have a referral rewards program. If you share your referral rewards code, you can earn a refund of $25. Similarly, you can send those on a set date. And those can kind of go either way there. Looking at these a tiny bit more, don't forget to customize your email. There is an automatic version in there that has fine content, but I really recommend going in and actually updating the text on your automated emails so that it really matches your race and it sounds like something personal and for the people that you're sending it to. If you are having trouble figuring out what type of content to use, you can use the pre-built emails, and we'll show those a little bit more in the next one. But if you're not sure, what should you include in a price increase email, there are some versions that you can kind of play off of, and that'll give you a little bit of a start for this. Finally, like limit, I said, registration follow-up emails, but really limit all of your emails a little bit. You don't want to bombard people so much that they unsubscribe from your email lists. Typically, I wouldn't recommend more than 3 registration follow-up emails unless there's a very specific reason. I think price increases are a little bit more of a unknown quantity. You might be able to get away with sending an extra one there, but you want to be a little bit careful about how many emails you're actually sending to the same people. Pre-built emails, these are the emails that I noted before. So these are basically templates, but in addition to, a block of a photo and a block of text, what they have in there is kind of filler text. And that's going to give you an idea of what types of information need to be in there. For example, for a pre-race email, it'll have packet pickup information listed. It'll have parking information listed. So it'll give you a little bit of heads up of what things are typically included in these emails. You can always edit them, you can remove things you don't need, or you can add things, but it gives you a little bit of a starting point. The other thing that I think is really, really important in them is that they include all of the replacement tags that you may want to use. And that's just a really great way to make sure that if you want to send people their bib number, you have the right replacement tag. You don't have to worry about finding it or testing it and making sure it's the correct one. You already have all the right replacement tags in there. This is why I said pre-built emails are a little bit different. So it's not actually a separate email that you set up. It's basically a template, and you can access this for emails you're sending right now, for scheduled emails, and also in automated emails. So you can access these from anywhere within the system. Right now we have pre-built emails for marketing topics, pre-race, post-race, donations and fundraising, and some generic templates if you just want a little bit of design help. We will have more coming to those, and I think continually adding to that library to give you guys a few more options to use. Talking about your email schedule, when do you send emails? There's a couple of different buckets that we look at. One is going to be your key registration time, making sure that you are emailing people at the times that they're most likely to register. 2 is price incentives. Anytime you have price, making sure that you are using email to send reminders on that. Registration follow-ups, making sure that you are keeping in touch with people who've already registered and leveraging them to grow your race a little bit more. Logistics emails are going to be your pre-race emails, your post-race emails. They're going to be 2 participants, but they're super important to make sure that people are having a good experience at your race. And then the emails we hope that you don't ever have to send. Some emergency emails in case things go wrong and you need to either cancel or change things last minute. So key registration times, I think I included this here, and there are numbers on the next slide. You can look at them more carefully when we send out the actual document. These are from our race trends report, and it's looking at when people register by distance. And I think that's really important to actually see the breakdown by distance, because you want to make sure that you're sending appropriate for your race. I will say, I think the biggest difference here is just that typically longer, more involved races are open longer, and so that changes when their kind of spikes and dips are. There are also races that people are going to plan for more, so they're going to know 4 months in advance that they want to run a marathon, whereas maybe they will wait a little bit longer to decide on a 5K. But I will say, if you kind of take a look at this, all the distances, while the actual specifics differ, they all have kind of 3 points where you see registrations. 1 is going to be your registration launch. Right off the bat, people are registering. 2 is going to be the mid-cycle spike. There's a little bit of a point around a month out, 2 months to 2 weeks out, where people come back and they're really excited. Again, you get another big boost of registrations. I think that's often around a price increase, but doesn't necessarily have to be. Finally, unfortunately, you're going to have participants until race week. See about 25% of registrations come in on race week, so you should expect that spike at the end of the races or the cycle as well. Registration patterns by difference. This is kind of the eye chart here with all the numbers by difference, but I do recommend taking a look at it if you want to try to figure out what times are really important to your race. If you have a long race or a race that's going to require a lot of commitment, you're probably going to want to do a little bit of extra promotion early in your cycle. Whereas if you have a 5K, you have a local community race, you're going to want to keep pushing that really hard at the end, because people may be waiting longer to decide. The other way you want to schedule your emails is around pricing. Price is the strongest call to action that there is. We say 26% of our 2023 registrations happened within 3 days of a price increase or registration closing. That's a huge chunk to be happening around a very small number of days. And what that tells us is that people are really, really motivated when they have a reason to be. I think actually the amount of difference matters less than the fact that there is a difference. It's just something that says, hey, you should register right now. One thing that I'm always surprised by is that shockingly few races actually use price increases or use them to the ability that they can. We see races, again, depending on distance, averaging about 1 to 2.5 price increases per cycle. Obviously, if you have a short registration cycle, if you are opening your race 2 months out, it's going to be hard to do more than 2 price increases. You have a long race cycle, you have lots of opportunities there to increase prices, to use that as an incentive. And that helps you to get people in earlier. It also means that you can make up a little bit more money from higher priced events later on. If you're going to use coupons or any sort of discount like that, make sure they're very, very time limited. You want to include those in all of your emails and social media, but you want to make sure that they have strong action based on time. Finally, if you have pricing that is around discount events or bundles, that's a little bit less time-based, but you want to make sure that there's somewhere within your email schedule that you're promoting those programs and encouraging people to actually go in and complete their registration. Tip on this, if you are scheduling out a lot of emails, you want to use the automated emails that are in there so you don't have to worry about making sure you're scheduling them on the right dates for every price increase. You can just use the dates that are in the system, schedule them, and then you don't have to think about them each time a price increase is coming up. Registration follow-up emails. So these again are going to be the emails that go out to participants, and you want to use these to encourage people to bring people back. So referral rewards are a great reason to use these. If you have a great group and team program, if you have price increases coming up, you want to remind them to invite their friends. It's a great way to do that. You can also use this to promote programs within your race. So if you have a focus on fundraising or donations, or you have pre-race training programs that you want to get people involved in, you can use these for that as well. I think this is a really great way to make sure that your participants get more involved in your race and have a really good experience. One thing that I've seen, actually, never mind. I will tell you that later because that's on here. Logistics emails. So these again are for your participants. These are really, really important emails to make sure that people have all of the key information that they need. Typically, these are going to include your pre-race emails. We often see about a week out and the race and the day before race day. If you have a really large event, you might have a longer cycle of those. You might have more pre-race emails. That's a kind of typical cadence that I see. Include your parking info, include your packet pickup, race times, course map, anything that participants might be asking about. Post email, you want to get back in touch with people immediately so that you can make sure that they had fun, remind them that they had fun, keep in touch with them. I often see races sending one email that is immediately after the race that just has their results and a thank you, and then maybe one a couple of days later or a week later that has more photos, a survey, the next type of event that's coming up for them. It'll kind of it extends the day and people get involved. Volunteers, you can also use these for task details and reminders for your volunteers. This is again where you might want to use pre-built emails to make sure that you are capturing all the replacement tags and reminders of info that you need. And secondly, one thing that I think is really can be missed a lot of time is if you have participants who are registering really late and you sent out your race day details 4 days before the race and someone registers the last day, or you send it out in the morning the day before the race and then someone registered that night, you want to make sure those people still have race day details. So one thing you can do is once you're getting to the point at which your race day emails have already gone out, schedule a race registration follow-up email for an hour after someone registers that has all that race day information in it. And that way you're making sure that your late registrants also get all of the race day information that your regular participants got. Emergency emails, we hope you never have to send these, but it can be really useful to have them set up. I highly recommend creating a template that says race cancellation, race postponement, race change. Obviously, you're going to have to update details because you're not going to know in advance, what emergency it is that causes this kind of change. But the less you have to worry about in that kind of situation, the better. So it's good to have a draft of it ready to go, to make it really quick and easy if you do have to do something like that. This is a question I get sometimes, is like, does it matter when I send my emails? I'm going to be honest, when I look at the times, I don't think matters a whole lot. This is, what times people are registering. We do see a majority, 57% register basically during the workday. So that can be a good time to get people, in front of a computer. There's also still 30% people who are registering in the nights and evenings. I think aside from like 1 a.m., you're still seeing pretty steady registrations throughout. The one thing that I would say is there's sometimes a tendency to send emails for 8 a.m. and that can be a little bit lost because you're getting all those emails from the night before and people are a little bit slower on registrations in the morning anyways. So maybe wait until a little bit later in the day. But I don't think you need to over stress about what time it is and if you're sending it at the exact right time. Who are you sending email to? So there's a couple of different options here. System lists, these are going to be the lists that are automatically created by our system. And so they're going to be updated at every moment, tied to your data. So participants, current participants, last year's participants. Your past participant list includes the previous 3 years. And that's because if people are not staying in touch with you and we're continuing to send them emails, eventually you're going to have a lot of bad emails on your list, and that's going to really hurt your deliverability. And so we want to make sure that we're not doing that. If you have a specific reason why you need to email people from 5 years ago, you will still have a list that says, 2019 participants, and you can go back in and grab those. Has your donors, fundraisers, volunteers, both current and previous, groups and teams, and others. There's actually a list that's created for incomplete registrations. So if you didn't use the automated emails for incomplete registrations, you can access that list there. And for specific use cases, if you have unsigned waivers and need to follow up with people for waivers, that does create its own list. Custom lists, you can also upload any lists that you have. There's no limit to how many emails you can have on list. The only thing I would say is there's about 100,000 limit on a single upload. So if you have a list of 200,000, you're going to want to break that into 2 uploads. I did these with lists of that size, and it was about a minute for each upload. And we had ones that were like that big. Typically, it's a few seconds. These are pretty quick. It's just going to be a CSV. It's going to match that your information is tied to a field, and then you will move forward. Sorry, we have kitten interruption. Selecting recipients. So this is important to know. Like there's a lot of different ways that you can configure this. The very quick thing to say is you can include and exclude. So if I want to send to all of last year's participants who have not registered, I would just include all of last year's participants and then exclude all of this year's participants. And that way you can kind of build custom lists the way that you want. The other thing that I think people miss a lot is I've had several questions like, how do I find a specific event? How do I send to only this section of participants? If you can't find the list you're looking for, this advanced filters at the top right will open up a lot of different options, and you can use that to see more detailed information. Just a few things that have come up. We've been doing roadshows over the last couple of months, and these are the questions that I think have raised a lot of interest every time we've gone over them, or the things that people don't know. Recipient designations, there's an ongoing debate about the verbiage here. We'll see where it lands, but for now, this is where the verbiage lands, and the functionality will stay the same. On your final step of email, you can select either marketing or transactional emails. It's going to default to marketing. You want to make sure you're doing this right, and there's a reason for that. It keeps separate unsubscribed lists, and you want to make sure that people who have registered for your race, who need your race day details, get that information, even if they declined to get your marketing first. So you want to pick marketing if it is literally a marketing email. If you're sending a price increase email, if you're sending an email about another race they should sign up for, anytime that you're trying to get people to sign up, that's going to be a marketing email. Transactional emails are only logistical emails. So any types of event communications, your pre-race logistics, weather updates, post-race, those are things that people asked for by making a transaction with you. So you want to keep that literally clean and make sure you're only sending important details through there. Customizing templates and exporting them. So you can build your own templates. If you have emails that you send a lot, you want to have a race day template set up so you can just customize that each year. You can create and save your own template. The other thing you can do if you have multiple races, actually export that template to do another race. So if you have 5 races, you can say, I really like the post-race email that I did on race 1. I'm just going to export it. It'll show up in race 2, and then all you have to do is make your customizations there for that race. It's going to make it a lot quick and easy, very quick and easy for you to share emails across events. Finding replacement tags. So I didn't really go into placement tags on this because we've done that on a couple of webinars now. Replacement tags are those little words inside percentage signs that tie to data. So it can be as simple as first name, which is, then going to include Sally. Hello, Sally. Thanks for registering. It can also be much more complex. It can be a bib number. It can be the referral code link. It can be the QR code for check-in. All of those exist as replacement tags. You can also upload your own custom ones, but for this purpose, we're going to look at ones that are mostly in the system. Actually, those will show up too there. If you're trying to figure out what the replacement tags are that you need, there's actually 3 places you can find that. So one is if you are on the first page, just setting up your email and you want to think about what replacement tags you're going to use, there's a little view of available placeholders at the bottom, and that'll show you what placeholders are available for that list. 2, when you're writing the email, there is a little drop-down menu there, and you can search through and try to find them there. The easiest way, if you have any idea what the replacement tag might be called, is to just start typing a percentage sign and the word, and it'll start narrowing down what those options could be, and hopefully you'll be able to quickly find what it is you're looking for. One thing that is often missed, replacement tags are dynamic. So if I don't have a referral program, I wouldn't have access to a referral code replacement tag. If I don't have fundraisers, I won't have access to those fundraiser codes. What that means is if you haven't selected a recipient list, you will not see any replacement tags. You'll just see email. So if you want to know what replacement tags are there, make sure you select an email list so that you can actually see correctly what replacement tags are available. Graphics tools, these are just a few that we've gotten mentioned to us. We use Canva a lot internally. There are free and paid versions. It's a really quick, easy way if you just need quick and simple graphics. Creatopia, I'm not as familiar with, but we've had it recommended to me by a customer. It is a paid option with free trial, but it's really easy if you have like a lot of graphics you want to use in email, on your website, in ads, and so you want to resize the same graphics over and over. That can be a common one that we see. And actually the one that I did not put on here is Image Gallery, which is built into your emails. When you click to put in an image, it'll pop up with an image gallery that has all of the images you've uploaded. There are also system images in there. We've worked with some photographers to license photos that are in there. So you can also use those if you have a new race, you have an event that you don't have any photos for, you can find some that match your event. Leveraging AI, this is actually something we tested this week just out of some curiosity for what it would do with this type of email. So obviously there's a lot of AI tools out there. For this purpose, we've tested Google Gemini, and we fed in kind of the original details about the event. And what I would say is really good at is it added a little bit of fun and personality. It can be really hard to write copy that's like not just show up for this race. So it did a pretty good job of adding some personality and recognizing the theme of St. Patrick's Day, kind of recognizing some of the things that were in the original data and pulling that from that. Definitely improve the formatting. Instead of this nice block of text that no one's going to read, it pulled things out into bullet points, it bolded. The formatting, I think, made a huge difference in terms of how this presents to someone who's reading. It's going to catch their eye on the right things. The other thing you can use this for is if you need to, you're not sure what's best, run through a couple of different options, explore a couple of different versions. You're going to want to make sure that you A/B test them, see what works. Or if you have, again, an email that you've used for 10 years and you're like, I just need to say something different this year, check it out and see what else comes up from that. That's a really good way to get things a little bit freshened up. Just as with everything, make sure that you read what AI gives you and are verifying accuracy before you go through and send something. It is not a person and it is not you, and you know more about your race than it can. So make sure you're always going through and learning, and making sure that the actual information is correct. Sponsor component, I just threw this on because it's new and it was much asked for. This is a really cool new component in email. So it's one of the options you can pick, like instead of text or image, you can pick a sponsor grid. And if you have sponsors that you've uploaded to RunSignup, it's going to let you really quickly add them to your emails. That means it's already going to know what their logo is, what their link is. That's already tied into the system, and you can set it up in different formatting so that it'll show up on the bottom of your email, and you can send those out and promote your sponsors within your emails. Last thing we're going to do is just a quick demo. This is obviously not going to show you everything, but I think it's good to see what it looks like if you haven't been in Email V2. First thing is just where is your legacy information? It's still going to be here. It's going to be here for a very long time, so you're not in a rush to download all of this. You go to manage email, go to send emails here. It's going to show you all of your previous emails. You can download your recipient lists if there is a list that you had custom uploaded. You want to make sure that you upload that into Email V2. You can download those from here. You can also view the email. That's just going to show you what the email was. And so you can go in and copy that and paste it over to a new template. So all of that's going to continue to be accessible for you, along with email templates. Anything that you had in here, you can still access it to see, so that you can easily bring things over to V2. In V2, custom lists, that's what we showed here. If you wanted to add a new list, sorry, my GoToWebinar is getting in the way of my screen, you can quickly do that. And this will give you the option for either a single entry or a CSV upload. If you want to send an email, which is usually what you're going to be doing, first step here, this is where if you select your recipients here, it's going to give you more information on replacement tags. So it's going to show you your custom lists up top, and this race has a lot of them. Then you're going to have your system lists down here. As we noted, if you go to advanced filters, you're going to see a little bit more detail in some of these races. Oh, I didn't check on anything, sorry. Show past events. So this is now going to give me detailed information to select this specific event that I want. So let's just click all past participants and keep going. Available placeholders, this is where you can see those there. And then we can create an email. So I'll show you a different version on automated emails, but to start with, just starting from scratch, this is just going to set you into a blank email. One note here, this is the automatic header that it gives you. There's a lot of flexibility with this. If you come in, you can hide this altogether. You can make it a vertical one. You can change the name. You can change the logo. You can change the banner. So there's a lot of flexibility here if you want to do different things with that section. And then when you're ready to start an email, just add a new section. You can do 1 column, 2 column, and 3 column sections. And these are the different types of components you have. Obviously, text is pretty straightforward. Image, divider. Sorry. Image group is a really cool one that we like that lets you set up, a series of images. That's another way that we've seen people do sponsors before. The sponsor grid was there. Sponsor grid is down here, and then there's just some other various ways that you can actually have things automatically set up. If you don't want to have to worry about, adding an image and then a button, you can have those built together. I think this is going to make me add text to move on. So once you have your email all set and ready, continue. Sorry, I had a section that was blank. It's going to show me my email, which doesn't have very much on it right now. Review email. And this is where you're going to see the send immediately, schedule date, marketing or transactional emails, and then your estimated count. One final note, and actually I should have had this on a slide, deduplication options. So there's a couple of options here, and there's really reasons that you would want either one. Deduplication means, if my email's on there twice, not sending it to me twice. If you're sending a marketing email, you want to deduplicate on email only, because you don't ever want to send someone 5 marketing emails to the same email address. Doesn't make sense. If you're sending a race day email or something that is specific to participants, typically if you have detailed placeholders, then you're going to want to use this one with email name and placeholders. And that's because if I register myself and my best friend, we have different bib numbers. I do actually need both of those emails. And so for a logistical email, you're probably going to want to dedupe on email name and placeholders. But if it's a marketing email and you only want it to go to each person once, then you can do email only. Once you're ready, I'm not actually going to do this. You're going to hit send email. It'll give you a warning, but I'm too nervous to get to that step. And it will, remind you to double check that you actually want to send the email. Last thing I'll show you guys is automated emails here. So If you want to set up any of the automated emails, they're all here. You can see the green light on one that's already set up. Go in and edit that one. So here you see, you can send it 2 days before the price increase. You can send it immediately prior. You can send it hours before, or you can send it on a specific date if you have a reason that you want to send one on a date. Here's your 2 versions here. The one that is to your current participants and the one that is to your past participants who haven't registered yet. If you want to go in and edit these, just click on the edit there. And here's where I think this is useful to know is this is, again, it's a default template that comes up here, but you can put anything in there. So you can just edit it, and start from the email builder that we just saw, or you can choose a template. If you choose a template, it's gonna take you back to this here. And right here is the pre-built emails. So if you want a start, you want, an email for price increase, but you want one that's not the one that's in there automatically, you can come in here. It's on marketing, and there's some down here for price increase. So I want to use this one instead. And now this is going to show up here. So there's these replacement tags you don't really have to do anything with. You just want to make sure that the rest of the information is accurate. If you want to add anything else in, you want to add an image, you want to update other information, add a button, add a section, you can still do that. But now you have this starting point from the pre-built email. The rest of the process is going to run pretty much the same. Continue. And you're going to save your automated email. And I think that is all I'm going to walk through now. So I guess if we have any questions remaining.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty caught up, but there's a couple that I think would be good to just go over as the group. And if anybody has any questions you want to put in while we're doing that, go ahead. So one of them is someone asked, is this email V2 available in clubs, or will it be available in clubs?
So email V2 is available in the memberships platform. Memberships is our upgraded replacement for clubs. It is currently in beta. If you're interested in the beta program, email us. We can connect you with Jonathan. But that will be publicly available later this spring as well. So we're not updating the old clubs platform with it, but it will be in memberships. It's going to be email V2.
Someone else is asking about sharing email templates between different types of events, like a race and a ticket event, or a race and an organization email dashboard, asking if we're able to do that yet.
I have not tested that. Elizabeth, do you remember?
Oh, so
I don't think
I'm pretty sure we can't, and I think it's coming soon, but I don't think you can yet.
My recollection is that I only had races available when I tried to share.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to be across the same type of entity for now. Someone is asking, can you review how to set up an entire campaign with scheduling multiple emails? I'm not sure if they're talking about like automated emails or like multiple scheduled emails.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're probably going to want to do that in 2 places. So one would be just from your regular email send, scheduling out things that are going to be on a set date. Like I send a St. Patrick's Day email on St. Patrick's Day and have those, as pre-scheduled emails. If you want to do, a series of emails to participants, I would do that through your registration follow-up emails, and I would set up a couple of different versions on that, so you can add more than one registration follow-up email, and I would do that 3 days after, a month after, 2 days before the race. If you need more on that too, just follow up with us after. We can figure out what the actual question is.
Yeah. If I customize the automated price increase email, the next year when I review the event, will the information be cleared out in the automated email, or do I need to manually go in and delete it?
I don't remember that. That was a debate in renewal updates. I will get you an answer on that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive either. I want to say
that's been one of the ones that was back and forth on renewals. So I will double check, and we have an email then. I'll let you know.
Someone asked, is it possible to send the same email to more than one race?
I would do that by doing it as a, well, So there's a couple of ways. Right now, I would do that by either, sending exporting the template and sending it from both races, or by using organization email. There will be full capacity from a race in the future. We have some cool functionality in terms of building lists across races that is coming, but that is not fully available yet.
Yeah, a couple of people are asking about organization email, so we can include that in the follow-up information.
Organization email, it's basically standalone. It's going to function exactly the same way. And what happens is, if you'll be able to pull in information from all of the events that are under your account. So you don't have to upload your current participant lists over there. You'll be able to access those.
Somebody asked, you quickly went over the email includes and excludes. Can you cover that again real quick, specifically on sending emails to new registrations, but not registrations prior to a specific date? So like if you schedule an email.
So it's not going to be set
or something.
Sorry, what was the last part of that?
Like if you schedule an email for Monday of race week and then you want to send it out again on Friday night before your Saturday race. To the
last people. So yeah, if you had already sent the email and you don't want to send it to everyone again, what I would do is use the automated emails, the registration follow-up. And you don't want to set this up in advance because you don't want to send the pre-race email. Sorry, you want to set it up in advance, but not like you want to set this up to the start of registration, because you don't want to send it to people who are registered 2 months out. But what you can do is, once you've sent that pre-race email, you come in and you say, I want to send this email to anyone who registers an hour after they register. And then I'm going to customize that, put in all the information from the pre-race email. And what that'll do is, once that person registers, they automatically get that email that you're not resending again to everyone. So that makes sure that they're still getting the information.
Yeah, the only other way is to make a custom list of everyone who already received the email using your participant report or something, like filter it on date, upload that as a custom list, and then exclude that custom list and send to current participants when you're ready to send out your final pre-race day email. So there's a couple different ways, but right now we don't have a list for like everyone after this date. So you kind of have to do it manually. Let's see. There's a couple kind of specific questions that we can follow up with you individually. One person asked to see a picture of Johanna's cat that she mentioned briefly. I said,
I do not have
the follow-up.
I don't. Yes, I was going to say I don't know where one is on my laptop right now, but I guarantee you there are many. So I will send cat pictures.
All right. I think the rest of the questions we can follow up with people individually because they're kind of specific. So I think we are all good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll pull a list of all questions and we'll go through the ones that need to be answered. So thank you guys for coming. We'll talk to you next time.
Brian said to like and subscribe.